what's going on? This is Luke. Welcome back to General Jackassery. Today, in light of the most recent massive DDoS attack, actually, which started the morning of October 21st and shuttered the ability for millions to connect to sites such as Reddit, GitHub, Spotify, Facebook, etc., and the fact that our society year after year becomes more heavily reliant on both science and technology, I felt compelled to make this video and very quickly address what a DDoS attack is, what a DNS is, and why we should at least tertiarily know about what both are. So let's start with DNS. Might as well at least know what it is being attacked before we talk about the attack itself. DNS is short for Domain Name System. A domain name system, or DNS, is essentially a naming system for computers, services, or any resource connected to the internet or a private network. It associates various information with domain names assigned to each of the participating entities. Most prominently and maybe more direct to our topic, it translates more readily memorized domain names to their numerical IP addresses needed for the purpose of locating and identifying computer services and devices with the underlying network protocols. I know I really cleared that up for you, didn't I? To put it in less technical terms for you guys, it's essentially responsible for taking what you see as, say, www.google.com or www.pornhub.com or wait, what was that last one? Or basically whatever your site of choice is at the time, and equating that to an IP address for which the systems communicating behind your screen would correlate to Google or Pornhub or Betty Crocker or whatever you're feeling that day. Think of it as basically the phone book of the internet. With this fresh on our minds palette, let's introduce the topic of DDoS, which is short for Distributed Denial of Service. When you hear DDoS mentioned, which if you haven't by now, you will be likely to in the years to come, it's referring to a cybersecurity attack, or a cyber attack rather, where the perpetrator seeks to make a machine or network's resources unavailable to its intended users, such as to temporarily or indefinitely interrupt or suspend services of a host connected to the internet. Denial of service is typically accomplished by flooding the targeted machine or resource with fake requests in an attempt to overload systems and prevent some or all legitimate requests from being fulfilled. Basically, look at it as a group of people crowding a door or entry to a business, for example, and not allowing any ordinary patrons to enter and conduct a business as usual. These attacks come in many different flavors, such as amplification, nuke, teardrop, smurf, etc. But most work the same by using a large network of remote PCs, which we would call a botnet, to overwhelm another system's connection or processor, causing it to, you guessed it, denies service to legitimate traffic it's receiving. The first type of attack, and most basic, would be a blitzkrieg type attack. Charge! Because it attempts to directly overwhelm a system by flooding its ports with garbage streams like constant pings or endless fragments of data packages without rebuilding instructions. It's akin to basically asking your parents on that trip as a child over and over and over and over again, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there? Without any dead air for them to respond. A system overload, if you will. Another type of attack is known as prank call or crank call attacks. Attacks that can cause bandwidth and processing congestion by forcing the server to actually respond to their illegitimate requests. This can be done a number of different ways, by forcing a website to endlessly interact with new systems or attempt to validate spam port requests before inevitably returning an ICMP destination error, or by using GET request attacks by simulating large-scale file transfers which would only naturally occur with a mass release of something media or otherwise, say Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift do a duet album. The last type of attack we will address, even though there are numerous more, is the DNS server amplification attack. This technique uses an individual PC's ability to act as its own domain name server to request the same junk from the other techniques listed above, and then forward it to a selected target, amplifying the attack as much as 70-fold. Yes, you heard that right, 70-fold. And this is likely to be increased in the future. A DDoS attack overwhelms a DNS server with lookup requests, rendering it incapable of completing any. That's what makes attacking a DNS so effective. Rather than targeting individual sites and taking them out, an attacker can take out the entire internet for any end user whose DNS requests route through a given server. All this leads us to our most recent DDoS attack that targeted DIN, an internet infrastructure company headquartered in New Hampshire. DIN offers domain name system services. The attack started around 7 a.m. Eastern Time on the morning of October 21st. The first bout was resolved after only 2 hours. A second attack began just before noon, and DIN reported a third wave of attacks a little after 4 p.m. Eastern. In all cases, traffic to DIN's Internet Directory servers throughout the U.S., primarily on the East Coast but later on the opposite end of the country as well, was stopped by a flood of malicious requests from tens of millions of IP addresses disrupting the system. Late in the day, DIN described the events as a very sophisticated and complex attack. Still ongoing, the situation is a powerful reminder of the fragility of the web and the power of the forces that aim to disrupt it. With all this worrying around, we should note that DDoS attacks have become something of commonplace as of recent times. They happen all the time, cites Matthew Prince, the CEO of the internet infrastructure company Cloudflare. What makes this attack so relevant and prominent is the size of the attack. Quote, DIN would see them on a regular basis. We see them on a regular basis. The fact that this is causing DIN so many problems is pretty good evidence that this is an extremely large attack. Prince adds that Cloudflare, too, has seen an uptick in errors on its own network. It is not under attack, it's just experiencing fallout from the DIN disruption. Furthermore, Richard Muse, Vice President of Technology at the enterprise security firm NS Focus, added, this attack highlights how critical DNS is to maintaining a stable and secure internet presence, and that the DDoS mitigation processes businesses have in place are just as relevant to their DNS service as it is to the web servers and data centers. All in all, the overall picture is still foggy, but since the time of the attack, information was slowly progressed. Initial reports indicate that the attack was part of a genre of DDoS that infects the Internet of Things devices. Think webcams, wireless speakers, DVRs, routers, etc. All over the world with malware. Once infected, these internet-connected devices become part of a botnet army, driving malicious traffic toward a given target. The source code for one of these types of botnets, called Mirai, was recently released to the public, leading to speculation that more Mirai-based DDoS attacks might crop up. DIN said on Friday evening that the security firms Flashpoint and cloud services provider Akami detected Mirai bots driving much, but not necessarily all, of the traffic in the attacks. So yeah, guys, in conclusion, I felt it was important to make this video to help bring to the attention of you, the viewer, what's going on in the headlines, and more directly, what might be causing your frustration trying to log on to your favorite website or gaming service or what have you. In addition, I felt that even though the topics here are covered briefly and leave much detail out, they can at least get the ball rolling in trying to help keep people interested and protected in our connected world. I look at the internet as our greatest tool if we can use it correctly. I cherish the ability to be able to connect almost telepathically with my brothers and sisters worldwide. This advent could have helped us so many times in human history, in my humble opinion, so please, let's not squander what we have. But I do digress. If you liked this video, or got anything out of it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. You can go ahead and click that little general jackassery zone icon you see down there being all sexy to subscribe. You have no idea how much it helps. Again, thank you for your time, happy learning, and much love, everybody.